Let's return now to the count. Live in Caerphilly, we can speak to our political correspondent, Katherine Forster. Katherine, you've been speaking to the unsuccessful Reform candidates.
Yes, and we'll show you that in just a moment. But first of all, we've had a statement through from the Welsh Labour leader, Eleanor Morgan. I'm just going to read it out. It says, "This was a by-election in the toughest of circumstances and in the midst of difficult headwinds nationally. I want to thank our candidate, Richard Tunnicliffe, a good man who stood because of his desire to serve his community. I congratulate Lindsay Whittle on his victory tonight. He returns to the Senedd, continuing his many decades of elected service to the people of Caerphilly." Welsh Labour has heard the frustration on doorsteps in Caerphilly that the need to feel change in people's lives has not been quick enough. We take our share of responsibility for this result. We are listening, we are learning the lessons, and we will come back stronger. Of course, they don't have very long, do they? Because those Senedd elections are in May of next year. But Lindsay Whittle, the Plaid Cymru candidate, the man of the moment, the man who has tried and tried for decades to get elected both to Westminster and the Senedd, and now, age 72, has finally done it. In his speech, he began by paying tribute to Heaven David, the man he's replacing, the Labour MS, who very tragically died suddenly back in August. We spoke to him on GB News a bit earlier. Let's have a look at what he said then. And very sad, the circumstances of this by-election, because the Labour MS, Heaven David, died very suddenly, didn't he, back in August, just at the age of 47. You knew him and worked with him closely, didn't you?
I knew Heaven David very well, and amidst all of this euphoria and excitement that people are feeling, we must always remember with some dignity that the sad circumstances that brought around this by-election, and at every opportunity I will pay tribute to my friend Heaven David, and I always send and extend my deepest sympathy to his family and all of his friends. He was a much respected man, and I will have nothing bad said against him.
Using the internet without a VPN, a virtual private network, is a bit like taking to the road without car insurance. All it takes is one unlucky moment to cost you a lot of cash. This video's sponsor is Private Internet Access. They are the VPN to help keep you safe. Click the link in the description below to find out why over 30 million people have downloaded PIA to protect themselves online. A virtual private network is an app that hides your IP address and helps keep your data private. When you're browsing the internet at home, you give up a large amount of data to businesses, to shops, and indeed to social media giants too. Hackers have the ability to steal your personal data with ease, including sensitive information such as passwords, keystrokes, and even your personal photos. Private Internet Access helps protect your personal data by encrypting your internet connection to keep your data out of the hands of cyber criminals. And it's not just hackers either to be concerned about. Information can be censored too. When Canada passed their C18 bill, social media giants decided to ban news content on their platforms. But PIA can protect your ability to consume the news and content you love. Private Internet Access is available for Windows users, Mac OS, Android, Linux, iOS, and you can use one PIA subscription to protect an unlimited amount of devices. And we've got a huge GB News discount for you too. Click the link in this video's description and you'll get a massive 83% off PIA. That's under £2 a month, the price of a coffee, and you'll get an extra 4 months completely free on top. Also, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee too. Visit piavpn.com/GB News to start protecting yourself digitally today.
At the end of that interview, I said thank you to him, and he said, no, thank you. You're the only channel who had asked about Heaven David, something, a man who was much admired here, and many in the community, absolutely devastated by his death. But then we tried to speak to Lindsay Whittle again in just the last few minutes. He would have come to talk to us again on GB News, but his press team stopped him. They told me, despite the interview that we'd done, despite him thanking us, that they do not engage with GB News. So Lindsay Whittle obviously was more than happy to do so, but the powers that be in Plaid Cymru do not want to talk to us. So there you go. But anyway, let us have a look now at Claire Powell, the Reform candidate who may have come in this evening thinking he was going to get it, and in the event lost by nearly 4,000 votes. Let's have a look at what he said earlier.
We've seen a lot here tonight. We'd have liked to have registered a lot more voters, get our message spread across a 6 weeks campaign. We had a standing start. But, you know, those aren't, I'm not trying to make excuses, they're just analysing for what I've seen here tonight. We came really close, though. Look at the results we had across the constituency. Places like Bargoed, we were told that you weigh the Labour vote there. You don't anymore. Those are Reform voters. Across the constituencies, people turned out for it, so I'm very proud of that.
But you did drop leaflets on the day of the funeral of the MS who very sadly died, and you got a lot of criticism for that. Would you like to apologise for that? Lots of people seemed quite upset.
Well, firstly, I didn't drop those.
Not you personally, but the party.
And secondly, it was a Royal Mail drop in which we didn't control that. Now, you speak about that person. He was a friend of mine. I was there. I had a close relationship with Caerphilly. And, you know, what happened there was deeply sad, and what happened with the Royal Mail drop is deeply regrettable, and no one feels that more than me. We never intended for hurt to go out to anyone, and what we did, we picked up and we ran what I believe is a positive campaign with a message that could deliver for the people of Wales. And I'm proud of all my team, the activists that were out there, and I'm grateful to every voter that came to the ballot box and voted for reform, despite the fear and attacks that have been put against them by the other parties. And
can you tell us a bit about that? What are you referring to?
Well, they attacked my door. They in the middle of the night. The office was under several. We had to have security there. Look, there's a lot of things that went on in this campaign that was very dark and thing, but that's negatives. I'm positive. I'm building on what we've got here, and we're moving forward, and we're really excited for what we've got to offer the people of Wales next May.
And next May, a huge moment. Do you feel that Reform could make very significant gains, and that Labour will be really decimated in those elections?
We're looking to win the next election, and that's what we're going out to do. We've got our message which we want to offer the people of Wales, so I'm very excited about that. But in terms of Labour, you've seen what Reform has done to Labour here tonight. You can see the rise of the Reform vote. I'm very proud of that. We represent now the hard-working men and women across Wales, and we're going to continue on that momentum.
Yeah, so Claire Powell there, obviously also very upset about Heaven David's death, and talking about the abuse and intimidation that he has received during this campaign. Really very disturbing. There has been, it's been quite divisive. We've heard that from other people as well, this campaign. You have to hope that the community will come back together now. But look, of course they're disappointed. Of course they suspect that there's been a lot of tactical voting, people who do not like Reform, to make sure that they have been kept out. But, you know, they're going to bounce back, aren't they? Because they're still riding high in the polls. They've still got huge support, and they do believe that they are offering something different, that Wales are fed up with Labour, that many people feel that Labour have taken them for granted too long, and that people want change. Reform feel that they can offer that, and I think they're still pretty optimistic about their prospects in the Senedd elections next May.
Well, Katherine Forster, what an extraordinary story there, that the candidate for Plaid Cymru, ready and willing to talk to you, but sort of almost grabbed away by his press advisors at Plaid Cymru. I mean, that does sound like a bit of high drama there on the floor of the count.
Yeah, it's very disappointing. And I mean, there was a time, I don't know if it's still the case, but in the Senedd building, there was a ban on GB News being put on TVs. They were not allowed to show GB News like we're some very sort of dark force. I don't know. But what struck me was the press team could not have been more hostile to us. Lindsay Whittle himself, we had a very nice chat before the interview. We did a great interview. He was delighted with it, you know, and he thanked us for being the one channel that wanted to hear about his friend who sadly died. But there you go.
Those things, isn't it? Well, perhaps if Plaid is going to do well in the next elections, they will need to talk to the people that not just talking to us at GB News, but frankly to the hundreds of thousands of people who watch GB News. But Katherine, thanks indeed for joining us there live from the Count.